And I'll say thank you for the intro to what did you say it was, Dan? Latavius. Was it Letitia? I believe it was Letitia.
No, it's not my story. Steve and Mike can probably
We'll let them expand on it afterwards. Right. So basically what we've got here, as anybody who knows any of us, you're sort of aware that we traveled en masse over to New Orleans earlier this month for the Bears game. This episode is the Brits. I don't know. It was the Brits are coming, so it's the Brits have been. I don't know. So I'm going to introduce everyone. So obviously we've got two familiar faces from the pod, Steve and Charlie. We've also now got Mike, who he'll expand on his new nickname now, and we've got the irrepressible Aaron, who may remember some of his time in the city, and I'm sure we'll get to that. So I think we could kick off by saying welcome, everyone. It's great to see you all again. It's been a little while, but it's good to see you all, fellas.
Good to see you too.
Good to be here.
So I'm
there,
assuming
Charlie?
everyone's livers are back to normal. Everything's functioning all right again.
No. I think we're aware of the behaviour of Steve and Mike when they're actually in the UK, so that answer is a swift no.
I planned the detox for weeks afterwards. The only way that I could sleep through the jet lag was just to self-medicate. So yeah.
Aaron, how are you doing, buddy?
Self-medication.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Took a little bit of a break from the booze after I got back, got over the jet lag, but back into the normal stream of things.
Yeah, because you and Dan were delayed, weren't you, going back?
We were.
An extra night. Everything okay work-wise? There were no issues there. No issues with at home.
Yeah, no. To be honest, everyone was great. Wife was great. Work was great. It was what it was. So yeah.
I don't know what he said there, but it sounded like
it was all good. He said it was what it was.
All right, okay, that's my ending. Sorry, I apologise. Anyway, swiftly moving on. The first thing I think we ought to talk about is we have got a game coming up this weekend. Obviously, we've had the bye week, which was a beautiful relief on Sunday watching football without that fucking thing hanging over you. Anybody got any opinions on what's going to happen this week, I suppose? Dan, let's start with you.
My opinion is fuck them Falcons. I'm just going to lead off with that. Fuck them Falcons. I did a pod last night with the Gridiron crew, up in Scotland. Some good guys who got some content out there. I think it's going to be a close one. I said there's not going to be much in it. I think it's going to be a defense that wins it. Hopefully it's not a painful game, but I don't know. After that Vikings game.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be pretty much a carbon copy to the home game against Atlanta last year, where I don't think any of us were that happy coming out of it, aside from the fact we beat them and they lost. And I very much think it's going to be that sort of 18-16 sort of game again, and where we don't get any new answers about this team. And we're really the only answer that we do get is that inconsistency is our only consistency.
Yeah. There's a new Saints t-shirt. Again, you'd sort of hope with that mini break that they've worked on a multitude of things, but unfortunately, I mean, we had it. I remember when we did the pod with Jeff, and he was talking about the work they'd done that week, and he was saying, so you'll be really surprised what happens. And lo and behold, actually came out the traps, firing. And you thought, that we turned the corner here, haven't we? And then we just do what we do recently, and it's infuriating, and it just numbs the brain. So I've got no expectations. I want to win. I hope we win. Fuck those cunts. Sorry, Dan. I've got to stop saying that word. At least I didn't call somebody fairly popular in NFL media that word.
Popular is a stretch. Popular is a stretch.
Yeah. All right, no.
Yes. Popular, not so much.
No. Steve, Mike, what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
We say it every week, just fucking win.
Yeah.
and this one more so than the others. I have so low expectations at the moment. It was great that we could get the win when we were there, but I think we were all brought back down to reality with a bump the following week, and ultimately that's the way it goes, isn't it? So yeah, we've had a week off. Can we have done something with it? Now we don't have our WR1 and CB1.
Yeah. And that is yeah. I mean, you sort of think with Ridder playing the CB1 thing, you're sort of hoping won't bite us in the arse. But the rest of it is just like, let's just see. Let's not get any expectations up. And this is, we're on a podcast, and this is a group of Saints fans, and it's just heartbreaking listening to us all.
Well, can I say something? So, as the newbie here, I'm riding on confidence here. I'm thinking positively. So, fuck the Falcons seems to be the way we're going for it, and I absolutely agree. Perhaps I'm yet to go through the depths of despair. I'm feeling good confidence. Come on, positive energy. Yes.
Going from Patrick Mahomes to Derek Carr will bring you right down to that level.
So maybe on Tuesday. maybe if Mahomes had some of our receiver room, he'd be doing a better job.
Yeah, I mean that's it, and yet again, it's that sort of thing. Like, you look at them and you sort of think, God, I wish we were that bad at 7-3. But they have got an issue. There absolutely is an issue there with their pass catchers. That they might be able to muddle through and obviously get into the playoffs, but that's going to bite you in the arse if you don't sort that problem out. And even Travis Kelce at the in the game earlier in the week didn't look his absolute self. I mean, he's still probably the number one tight end in the country, but if he's not playing, then they've got a real problem.
He's going home to Taylor Swift. I'd be exhausted. Aaron, what are your thoughts on the weekend?
Yeah, look, I think it's a bit of a race to the bottom, to be honest. I think, not wanting to bring the mood down too much, but I think both bad teams, to be honest, both probably in the bottom third of the NFL. The South is absolutely horrendous this year. And look, I think it will be probably the team that doesn't beat themselves, either with a turnover, penalties, something along those lines. It's not going to be somebody lighting up the scoreboard, performing wonderfully, playmakers, making plays. It's going to be who makes the less mistakes, in my view.
Yeah. And I think, Aaron, you've go on, Dan. Sorry, mate.
No, I was going to say, I think there are two components to this game in terms of keys to winning for both teams. I think one, for the Falcons, they've got to take the leash off of Bijan Robinson and just let him go and just use him the way he should be used. And we've got to use Taysom. We have to give Taysom the ball. To me, whichever one of those things happen is going to probably dictate who wins the game.
And let's just hope Cordarrelle Patterson isn't broken out of his glass cabinet. Because he killed us.
That's my worry, though. That's my worry, that he killed us last year being running back one, and now they've got Algier and Robinson. I think Algier is awesome. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the league, and that's my one compliment I'll pay to the Falcons. And I think our run defense, our pass defense is maintained, but our run defense came out the season looking much better than last season. But it has just decreased week on week on week on week. And NFL offensive coordinators are seeing something that we can't see, that clearly Dennis Allen can't see. And they're exploiting it.
You're right. Because I remember the first couple of games, obviously there was the issue with not being able to protect Carr. But the one thing we were sort of looking at was like, actually the changes they've made on the interior look like they're actually maybe working. And that gave you a little bit of confidence in, moving down the line. But you're absolutely right, Charlie. Recently, it's just like nothing on that line seems to work. And I think that is the best compliment you can give to our defensive backs, is that nothing on that line has worked, yet they've still been at times stellar. You know, nobody goes towards Marshall, and obviously he's not playing at the weekend, but no one goes towards him. But then Adebo has stepped up, pretty radically in the last couple of weeks at least. But yeah, it's a real issue because both lines, even though the O line has improved, I think we all could admit that. But the D line just does nothing at the moment. There's no way.
Yeah. I was listening to 28-3 today, their most recent podcast, and they was talking about, whilst we're all getting caught up in the Colin Saunders hype around him as a fullback, he's actually getting pushed downfield as a defensive tackle and not getting anywhere.
He's got a job. Yeah, he's got a job.
Yeah, so they got to do that work there. But as I said, last night on that pod, losing Marshall Lattin's massive blow. He is essentially like Revis Island at the moment. Like no one wants to throw anywhere near him. He's sat there on his own. And we just see what Adebo does, given that responsibility.
Dan, just a quick one on that, because you referenced 28-3 pod. Can I ask you, is Cam Jordan a top 10 Saint of all time?
Yes. Yes. Yeah,
Sorry,
I think he's he's first ballot Hall of Fame for me. I know he won't be, but if you look at his draft class that he was in, JJ Watt and Von Miller and all those guys, his numbers stack up against theirs, and he's got better longevity, been healthier his whole career. To me, he's up there with those guys, and they're both first ballot Hall of Famers, so I think he should be.
But then, again, we're going slightly off track here. But the issue there is that obviously he's not. I think even Cam would describe himself. He's not a defensive end, is he? That's not how he categorizes himself. But also, those two people that you've mentioned, unfortunately for them, have had pretty bad injury history, so obviously their stats might not be up there, because you're right. I think Cam's missed one game through injury, which is remarkable in itself. I'm with you. I think
his fucking eye. It was his eye. It wasn't part of his body.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I shouldn't have changed that there. Anyway, so basically, we're hoping for a Saints win, but apart from our new Saints fan, nobody is as as hyped as our friend. All right, I think we should move on from the Saints, and now let's get into the real crux of what's going on. So it's a difficult one when obviously you've got multiple guests. So we've obviously spoken to Charlie about his experience over there, but obviously I know that everyone sort of had connections at different times when we were all over there. So we'll let's just freestyle it and see what happens. Can I ask, from my point of view, Mike, you were coming as a non-Saints fan. So you were just coming with your mate to accompany your mate, but to have a good time. What were your first impressions when you sort of touched down and
well, thank you very much for the question. I will say, first of all, I wasn't a Saints fan. I never disliked the Saints and always watched the games with Steve, as he does when I make him watch the Chiefs with me. I've always had an avid interest in American football throughout, no matter what it is, apart from the fucking Falcons. But and I love the game, I really do. I probably don't understand it to the level that you lot do, and I'm just going to be honest, but I'm getting there and I'm loving it. I think I didn't really have any expectations coming over. I didn't realise that I was going to make so many great friends. And obviously Steve had made connections on this podcast and other places with the WhatsApp groups. And then I got added to it just shortly before and kind of got to know you all a little bit, but still never met you. I didn't know what to expect with the stadium. I mean, I've been to football matches in England. I'm a Chelsea fan for my sins. I've been to Wembley.
Blues the colour, Mike.
I know. Fuck off.
I've got to be honest. When I walked into that stadium, I was absolutely blown away. I couldn't even believe that a structure that vast could be made. It was just mind blowing. I mean, I didn't even realise it was enclosed. So that's a little I know, idiot, right? So I was just like a bit blown away about the whole thing. But I just think, the whole place in itself, it reminded me of when I used to live in Ibiza years ago. It's a bit mad, and that one street where everybody just gets absolutely pissed, Bourbon Street, obviously. But yeah, I don't think I was ready for what I was about to experience.
Yeah, we all know that, fella.
I've said on here before that I think Bourbon Street is not as big a surprise to Brits as it is to some Americans, because we're indoctrinated in a culture of going to the Mediterranean, to these holiday resorts, when they all have a strip. Ayia Napa, Magaluf, Ibiza, San Antonio, wherever you go, they all have a strip just like Bourbon Street. So that's why I think, but it's like those strips on steroids, like maxed up, like off their tits, and that's why we go fully into it. But I can see why these like guys from Wisconsin or wherever go down and have 2 pints and they're like fucking off their nut. Whereas we embrace it fully, as we can attest to, all of us on here.
Yeah. Aaron, you've been to the city before. When was the first time that you went?
The first trip out was 2007. So this was my 5th trip out there. So I not intentionally. It seems that I used to go out every 3 years, and since children, I've gone out every 5 years. So before this trip, last one was 2018. So quite a distance. Obviously, Drew Brees was playing in 2018, so a bit of a difference on performance, on field performance. But look, it's no matter what's happening in terms of the team, it's still just incredible to be able to go back to the city, to go back to the Dome, and 5 years is a long time. But I don't know about you guys, but I guess 2007 to 2023, you're looking 16 years. And as I say, intermittent visits. But it's strange. It's a bit like a time warp, because some things come flooding straight back, like you were there yesterday. And there's other elements where it's like, bloody hell, that really was 16 years ago. And all of that goes through your head.
Is that when you're getting up in the morning after having quite a few drinks that you think, oh, fuck me, that's my first visit was 16 years ago, because I didn't feel like this when I got up in the morning.
I don't know what you're talking about, mate. Herbal teas only.
Yeah. Just keep it permanently ticking over, and you never ever have to deal with the circumstances. I get you, Aaron, my friend. So it's the same, but it's changed. But it's the same. I
mean, look, the city's pretty much as it was. Even Bourbon Street and Frenchman, Garden District, it's all pretty similar. Obviously, some shop fronts will have changed a little bit, but it's not too dissimilar. And to be honest, when I went out in 2007, obviously that was very soon post Katrina.
Yeah,
and at the time, people were saying, are you sure you want to go out there? I hear half of it's underwater still, which wasn't the reality. And I knew that. I'd done some research. But, to be honest, it wasn't too dissimilar in 2007 to it is now. There was a couple of places that hadn't come back, but generally it was pretty much up and running, even back in 2007. So it's not too dissimilar.
Yeah. On the point, because obviously you brought up the fact that you first went there in 2007, and normally when we get people on, we actually ask them, obviously, was it the Saints or the City? So I think it's a question that we should ask you at the moment. What drew you in? What was the thing that sort of did it for you?
Yeah, so I'd say it's definitely the Saints, but with a little bit of the City sprinkled in. To be honest, I picked the Saints when I was a young child, back in the day, growing up, probably in the late 80s. There were shows on Channel 4. It was being brought over as a product, and they used to show highlight shows on the weekend. And, sport crazy as a child. And me and my brother would watch the NFL show, and kind of, as you do, you have to pick a team. So personally, I didn't want to pick the popular teams at the time, the Bears, the Cowboys, the 49ers, etc. And so, yeah, a bit contrarian, but I went the complete opposite way.
And you know, shit team.
Yeah, pretty much the worst team at the time, I'd say, with the worst history. I do think, I don't know this with absolute certainty, but I think there was kind of a week by week focus on teams. And I think there was one on the Saints where, you know, they introduced who they were, what their history was, bags on the head, losing franchise. But do you know what? The people of this city just have a laugh, dance in the stadium, like the stadium, like the colours, and just thought, you know what? I'm going to go with these guys. And to be fair, it was probably a bad decision at that point in time. But it's worked out pretty well. And to be fair, they did explain, you know, the draft system, that anybody, no matter how bad they can be good in the future, which is very different to, you know, English football, soccer. And so I was kind of bought in that, you know, it doesn't always have to be like this. And thankfully,
it's not always pain.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it's proven to be.
Yeah. So from the point of the 80s where you started watching it on Channel 4, what was the journey to the first visit? How did that all come about? Was it purely, I've got to go over and see the Saints?
Yeah, so I was watching it kind of 80s as a young child, and then it was probably the whole 90s where I didn't really watch the NFL just because I didn't have access to it. And then I picked it up in the early 2000s and really got back into it. And I played Madden, and so you get used to knowing, you know, what works, what the playbooks are, how you exploit defenses, etc. It really does help. And then, you know, watching Super Bowls in the early 2000s, really got back into it and started watching the Saints as I could, which was still a bit limited. Again, early 2000, Jim Haslett area, pretty bad team. Then Katrina happened, and, you know, the team got really bad on the road all year, obviously. Ended up with the number 2 pick, obviously, and then they got Reggie Bush, the revival, the NFC Championship game 2006. And, you know, I heard Mark on one of these podcasts saying, you know, he felt like he had to help. And a little bit like that, I just felt, you know, with what people had gone through in Katrina, it was a tourist city. How could I help in the most basic way I could? And it was kind of tourist dollars. So I thought, you know what? As I said, did my research. City, certainly the main portion of New Orleans, maybe not the surrounding areas, but the actual city itself got back. Well, it didn't get hit that bad to start with. And then where it did get hit, obviously got some attention. So decided, well, I did actually want to go in 2006, especially when momentum was building, but didn't get out there. Did get out there in 2007. That was my first trip to the Dome. Unfortunately, they got absolutely hosed by the Titans. I think Keith Bulluck picked off Drew Brees 3 times, which is pretty much unheard of. Any player picking off Brees 3 times. Deuce McAllister did his ACL. It was pretty much the worst Saints game you could ever. Yeah, absolutely brutal. But
did you enjoy it,
an amazing time.
I was just going to pick up on something you said there, Aaron. You said about, you know, how Madden helps UK fans learn the game. Should we send it over to like Pete Carmichael and Dennis Allen, see if it helps them out? A bit of advice.
I do sometimes think I could do better. Yeah, absolutely.
So obviously, and you know, yet again, everyone has a sort of different story and a different take. And the fact that you went over sort of so soon after Katrina is obviously very interesting. And as you were saying, in a sort of very basic way, it's the way that you thought you could help. So you've been over 5 times, so it's something that you're always going to do. So I know obviously having children makes a huge difference to people's circumstances and stuff, but that's something that you'll constantly do now. It's going to be, whenever I get the opportunity, whenever it's there for me, I'm going to go over and I'm going to sort of sample the team and sample the city.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll definitely be back over this is not my last trip. And you know, in the future, it'd be great if I could take my boys out there.
I think the bars are really happy to hear that.
Yeah, look, hopefully I could take my boys out there. My wife's been over there. We've been there together. We've been there separately. She loves the city as well. And yeah, I guess they're quite young. We'll see how they get on when they're older, whether they like the Saints, whether they want to visit. But yeah, the ultimate would be to go out as a family and enjoy the city and the Saints together.
Yeah, that's very much like you, Dan, isn't it?
Yeah, it's when you talk about your boys liking the team, and obviously my son started showing interest, and I said to him the other day, I said, look, if you don't want to support Tottenham, it's fine, don't worry about it, but you're definitely supporting the Saints, all right? I won't compromise on that. If you want to support the team. But no, it's the same. You enjoy it so much that you want to share it with your family and your children. You want to indoctrinate them in it as well. And, you know, as I look at this screen, we've got varying levels of visits under our belts, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever it is you have, Mike. And the same message comes across from all of us afterwards is, I want to go back. When can I go back? It just gets you. Once it gets you, it's got you. Bites you, you're in. It's like it's the Stad, and you're... I'm sorry, I've been watching the interview of Vampire because it's set in New Orleans. But yeah, it's like once it bites you in the neck, that's it. You're converted. You're indoctrinated.
Yeah, when we were there, I was already saying, "Are we going back next year?" So yeah, 100% agree with that.
And that's exactly what Charlie said when he came on the pod last week. He's like, "I'm already focused on. I'm going next year. I'm gonna." Didn't you, Charlie?
Yeah.
He's like, "What friends can I take?"
Exactly. Every day since I've been away, my appetite to get back is just growing and growing and growing. And it's to the point where I've basically kind of planned out what I'm going to do for next year. And it's just the excitement levels that actually going there is added to down the line. It's grown exponentially. Like, I was excited for the first visit, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's almost as if I've unlocked this new level of excitement, being able to go back and experience it again and see the place that I saw again, then also see the place that I haven't seen. And just to hear Aaron to go back time and time again and still be having such a great time, it just fills me with so much more excitement for the future.
Yeah, I think I'll be a lot drunker on the plane next time going there because I'll be so excited about. I know what's coming.
I wouldn't go with BA though. You guys, you was all on that same flight. I wouldn't go BA. Take Virgin and get the connection. Stop at Atlanta. It's a decent airport. I'm actually looking at mixing it up next year. This might come to a disappointment for Saints Block Party and those guys. But I'm looking, if we have a home game over Christmas, I'm thinking about taking the family out on Boxing Day and doing a week and catching the game in the Dome. So that's what I'm hoping for, but it depends on because the Sugar Bowl is at that time, so it depends on if when the games are going to be played. But that's what my plans are for next year. If I can do it, I think it'll be good. Looks pretty at Christmas as well. Really nice. And New Year's Eve in New Orleans. Woo!
Wow.
See you later, kids. I'll turn up at Corey's house and go, these are my children. See you later.
Then go get Finesse.
Get Finesse, yeah. I'll send my kids out. I'll let them do a little bit of dance. Evie plays the saxophone and piano. Maybe she can do some busking for me while I'm in a bar or something. Dylan could do a little dance, like a bit of tap dancing.
Right. So I'm just gonna quickly interject here and just go from the point of view of when we were over in the city. Obviously, I got there a couple of days earlier. You guys, apart from Charlie, who was coming the following day, you guys all sort of turned up at the same time. You all hit the city at the same time. I was at the Pels game. Dan had gone for dinner with Eric and Corey. But you guys did exactly what tourists should do, especially those that are there for the first time. You hit a certain street. Now, I turned up, I think, 4 hours into your hitting of the street. And I can say it was remarkable turning up to that little gathering in Pat O'Brien's. So when you all sort of bowled out and you all sort of hit that area and Did you go to Pat O'Brien straight away, or did you hit a couple of bars before that, guys?
We did. I have to be honest, Mike. I didn't realise until we got back that you met us there. I don't remember.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm referring to.
I said no. I definitely met Mike in the flesh.
Yeah.
And I was going, hang on a minute, did I actually dream this? Because that could be the case. And I was like, no.
We was in. Did I meet Mike? We was in the Roosevelt.
You're in the
bar.
You're in the Roosevelt. You're in the Roosevelt bar.
I went back to bed because I know what my jet lag's like. But yeah, Mike went with Adam and a couple of the other guys to meet you in Pat O'Brien's, and I think they was there longer than they expected to be, or anticipated.
We said, I mean, I this is my first time back in like 11 years or something, and I said, obviously it's my first time. I just got to go straight and have a hurricane. It's got to be the first drink that we have. So we did that, but then we met Alex and Dan there as well. And they were already neck deep in the hurricanes by that point anyway.
Quay Supri, that Alex is neck deep.
What you said is correct. You said we should go and have a hurricane, but that wasn't the case because it was multiple. Like before we'd even finished one, Alex had bought another round. And I was just like, oh my God. And I think we had 4 in quick succession.
It was very quick.
Yeah.
No food.
I remember that bit. Yeah.
I turned up and you literally to an individual like you were absolutely fucking train wrecked. It was very. I was impressed by the fact that after 3.5 hours you were as spanked as you were, and it was genuinely impressive. But the thing that I was most impressed with was the guy who was your you were on first name terms with the guy who was serving you. Yeah. You were getting shots. He was getting shots as well. Like he'd suddenly become part of the brethren. It was like I don't necessarily think he knew what hit him, and obviously Alex being there was just getting everybody shots and shit left, right, and centre. But it was a very interesting personal introduction to everyone, and bless him, Baggy Dan, who's not on this tonight, is a much more reserved individual. But even he was flying high as a kite.
He still drinks though. He just doesn't.
Yeah. No.
And probably what you don't know is we all met up in the airport before we left, and I had a bit of a meltdown because Alex was like, "Right, when's the flight?" And we're like, 25 minutes. Right, we're going to the pub, and I was like, "No, we've got to get like a crane there." And he's like, "No, I've done this a million times before." He's still sitting there. Like 11 minutes to the flight, and he's going, "Should we have another?" And I was like, I'm not having another, Steve. I'm going to get this plane. And we still made it, didn't we?
We had loads of time.
So we were drinking before we even got to New Orleans. But yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Jason Bourne of drinking, Alex.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I think part of the reason why Alex is not on here is because he's not allowed to show his face on a podcast for security reasons.
I don't have the technology to pixelate him and change his voice. That's the problem.
It'll probably kip 3 or 4 of his passports. So he's,
we could have dubbed him with like a child's voice or something just to make it amusing.
You wouldn't have to do anything. That's what he's doing.
SWAT teams invading the Saints cave.
Yeah. So, Aaron, you were there as well, weren't you? And you were flying high and you were enjoying yourself, mate. What was it like for you? Sort of, obviously, because a lot of us, and this is a question more so for everyone, because a lot of us hadn't met each other, and that yet again, that's a remarkable thing. And we'll probably talk a little bit further down the line about the community of people that we met over there, the Americans that we met over there, because it is unreal about what goes on with people who haven't interface with each other. But we had that in it. We've got that in a sort of a shorter sort of situation. In fact, that a lot of us sort of knew each other, but none of us had met each other. And it's remarkable, isn't it? Because yet again, that first night, it was like, no, fuck this. This is us. We're here. We're having a good time. So how was it for everybody?
I didn't actually see Aaron until Saturday night.
The fateful Saturday
Like we've
night.
met before. We met twice before. We met when we had the meet up in Stratford, and also we went to Hot 8 Brass Band together. But I was like, I haven't seen Aaron yet, and then I just see him bowl across a fucking beer garden in his Arsenal shirt, and I'm like, for fuck, do you know what? Though? I'm standing there having a drink, and I look up and I go, "There's some prick in an Arsenal shirt over there. I cannot get away from fucking Arsenal." And then he walks down and it's like, "It's Aaron." Fucking hell.
The good thing was, Aaron had the same expression on his night the entire night.
Yeah,
it was just that
beam, wasn't it? It was the beam.
All right. I can address this in two ways. So first question was Mike's. So yeah, like you say, Dan, we've met each other a couple of times at the batting cages and also at the Hot 8 Brass Band. So I think that helped, certainly from my perspective, that I've met a couple of you before, rather than getting on a plane and never having met each other. Not that there's anything wrong with if you hadn't, but just it helps. And as Mike alluded to there, we, Steve, Mike and myself, we were all on the same flight. We were all in the same lounge bar before. So we just got chatting for an hour or two before our flight. Then we met Alex, Dan, had another beer at a different bar just before we nearly missed our flight. And it just makes it easier, right, to meet people. But at the same time, you say that, and then, we were in Pat O'Brien's. We went straight there. We went and had a few hurricanes, and then, we didn't know who was dropping in. It was almost like people parachuting in, and all of a sudden you just hear a big way, and all of a sudden, London and Sherm showed up, and I'd never met them. Obviously we're all in the Discord and you kind of know each other a little bit, but not really. And just two of the nicest people you could ever meet, and just so warm and just welcoming. And that just helps everything, right? In terms of setting the scene. Everybody's just getting along really well, just really, really nice people, just getting along well. And that absolutely helps. And to be honest, that was everyone throughout the weekend, right? There was no one who well, unless it's me, they say in a group.
Aaron.
Everyone was just really, really nice and just easy to get along with, and it continued for the whole weekend. So, I mean, things did get a little bit tasty at Pat O'Brien's with 4 hurricanes off the bat, straight off a long flight. But it is what it is. You got to do what you do when you land in the city. But it was just great just to meet people. Everybody just very welcoming, and everyone just looking to have a good time in a fun sea.
See, Mike would tell you that when we went for Mardi Gras, Pat O'Brien's was where it went sideways on Lundy Gras. That was a tipping point for me. I was fine until I got in and slammed a couple of hurricanes, and then it was downhill sledding all the way after that.
And sorry, that's a good point. On the second day, obviously, I'm an Arsenal fan. I went to Finn McCall's to watch Arsenal Newcastle. Unfortunately, lost to a very bad VAR decision, but. I was there for quite a long. Time, and showed up to the Saints block party at the Bio Beer Garden after a few, shall we say?
Aaron, you were in such impressive shape. It was like, for those who don't know, and obviously a lot of people won't know, we were towards the back of the Bio Beer Garden. That they had these obviously. These wooden slat sort of areas where you could walk, and the amount of times where I was like, I thought I might have to run over and catch Aaron because he was balancing on the edge of these slats on his heels, sort of, and you didn't know if it was because he was that drunk or because he was just not balancing correctly.
It was the jet lag, Mike.
Perfect excuse. That's like food poisoning. When your missus goes, "You had lots of drink last night." I go, "No, I think they left the food out too long." That's what it was. It wasn't the food.
I'm blaming the jambalaya.
When I see Aaron walking down I see Aaron walking down. He's got a shit-eating grin on his face. He's swaying, and he comes up to me, and goes, "I've just been stroking a dog." I've just been stroking a dog.
No euphemism.
No, it was literally a dog he'd found.
Sorry, mate. He said to me, "Have you seen Aaron?" And I went, "Yeah, I've met him." And he said, "Have you seen her drugs?" I was like, "Yeah." He went, "Look down." And I looked down. You had these perfectly slightly bent legs just balancing yourself in an upright position. It was absolutely genius.
But I must, and you know, I'm not advocating. Well, I am, because I do it quite a lot, drinking. But I am very Aaron. That night at Bayou Beer Garden, I was so impressed with you because you turned up absolutely off your tits, and you were there for the whole night. And I was really impressed. And there wasn't one moment where I didn't look over and you didn't have. Well, you'd have a drink in your hand, but half of it would be falling on the floor because you weren't able to control it properly, but you were still slushing it back. And you lasted the whole of that night.
Holding like lucid conversations with everyone you spoke to, and just like chilling and hanging with everyone. It's like perfect, absolutely perfect. Like loving life.
Yeah, look, I don't know how they were receiving the conversation, but I met a lot of really nice people. And I felt we had good conversations, but maybe not. Who knows?
Well, you did. I mean, Jerry and his wife, Jerry.
Jerry and Jerry.
I was standing next to him, and he went, "I am Jerry. This is my wife." And he said, "Hello, Jerry. Hello, Jerry. Wife of Jerry."
I think that's an indicator for how lucid your conversations were with people, mate. Entertaining, though. Absolutely entertaining.
I mean, but that night, I didn't even remember the fact that you were using my testicles as a target for the cornhole that we was all playing at the end of the night until Mike showed me the pictures. So it gives us an indication of what kind of night it was.
I remember Mike was between your legs taking the pictures.
Yeah, all right.
It's something a position he's familiar with, so I wouldn't worry.
Exactly. They shared a hotel room. Let's move on.
Look, I love Mike. I've got him all over my t-shirt.
Oh my fucking god! Are you kidding me?
I've been waiting for a moment to say, "Can we have a look at your t-shirt?"
I
can see what it said.
Where the fuck? Oh my god!
Where did I get it from?
Yeah.
China. I got it from China.
He's got matching pants as well.
I'm not wearing any pants for this. Yeah, so it's Mike's great.
Hey, look. Anybody listening to this on Spotify, have a look on YouTube. I'm getting quite emotional about that. I'm not really. I'm just saying that for effect.
Can we have some more made?
Yeah.
Yes.
Not this quality. I'll go somewhere better. This is like a stick-on, but yeah. We'll get some done.
It looks very good, mate. Thank you for that. I'm quite touched by that. You twat.
Put this back
all
on.
right, so I'm not 100% sure of a couple of things here. Like, I don't know what the rules are because a couple of people came away from New Orleans with new nicknames. I think there's Antman and there's another one, which I'm not entirely sure. Steve, can you help me out on the other nickname that came away from New Orleans? I'm not sure.
I mean, I can. Do you want the story behind it before?
Well, I'm sort of approaching it because I haven't actually asked the individual.
Oh no, mate, you go to fucking town, mate. Have fun.
No. So somebody on this.
This is a learning exercise for anybody.
Yeah. So this is now a travel log for New Orleans.
Why don't we work it backwards from the morning when he woke up?
Yeah,
it was almost like the film Memento when he was trying to piece together what actually happened backwards.
I have a picture of him holding his driving license as ID that I had to send
to Monza.
To Monza.
No, it was Lloyd's actually.
No, it was Monza.
Oh, it was Monza.
He said, "Take a picture of me so we'll go back a couple of minutes.
Love like that.
I got woken up at about 9 in the morning by Mike coming back. I said, "Oh, you're all right," and then I got the full story that something has happened, which led to me having to take a picture of him with his driving license as ID and sending it to Monzo with no explanation, no reference in the subject. They'll know what it's about, he said. I don't think they will.
Monzo are a bank for our international fans who might not be familiar. There's a bank in the UK.
I did get an email from a lovely lady afterwards saying, "Thank you for this, Steve. Can you tell me why you have sent this
Why
to
the
us?"
fuck is Gordon drunk flat with his driving license?
But Mike came back and said, "I've lost my phone. I've lost my cards." Well, how have you lost?
I've been robbed, I said.
Oh, you've been robbed?
Yes.
And then we started to go down the detail of how it had happened. Ah, right, okay. So then we managed to look at the transactions that happened since he'd lost his cards and his phone, and there was $200 and something in Walmart.
No, there was $270 in petrol. $800 in cryptocurrency. I forgot. 17 transactions in Walmart buying God knows what. And then there was a withdrawal for $300. And then there was another one. Oh, and there was like there was something like 9 transactions in a place called Bitter Bar. Like 1 minute apart. Now, I like drinking, right? But I don't buy a drink every 1 minute. so you know, yeah.
So Mike had fallen into the standard drunken, tourist thing on bourbon of trusting people who come and talk to you and dance with you and whatnot, and then lift whatever out your pocket and watch you go to the ATM.
Hang on a minute. Can I just say
the key there is dancing with you. So we are working on the assumption that this was a female who may have encroached on your being.
Quite possibly, yeah. And I wish she had done it. It would have been worthwhile then. So I think we must make this clear at the outset here that I think I am a very good drinker until I met Alex. So I kept up with him to a degree, which is where this night began. Let's begin at the beginning. So obviously not Alex's fault. I've got my own brain, but failed to use it for the 6 hours previous to me turning up at the hotel at 9:30 in the morning.
Something like that,
yeah. So basically, we were on bourbon. I mean, we've been out many times and got hammered, and I never just disappear. Like, it's just not my style, do I? You know, we don't leave one another.
And we agreed that wouldn't happen before.
Absolutely, failed. But
fucking married couple, weren't they?
I think
Terry and June.
Well, he's never been to America before. He said, just let's stay together, whatever we do, because I don't know what's going on. So yeah,
big place.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think what happened was, while we were on bourbon or somewhere similar to that, New Orleans, there you go. Some very attractive young lady started talking to me. And I bought us a drink, and we were cavorting dance-wise somewhere. And then she was like, "Just come with me." And I just went with her. I don't know why I did that. And then halfway down, this is all I remember, by the way. Halfway, I mean, am I allowed to tell this story? Is that okay?
Yeah, you are.
I think you're the only one.
We're doing a public service information moment.
Halfway down the street, I realised that I think I'm going to get in a bath somewhere with a kidney missing. Do you know what I mean? So I kind of like got out of that situation and then ended up at a bar with all these other people. And I think that's where I got finessed. I don't think it was actually her.
So what we should say is for the duration of the entire holiday, you were mugged.
Yeah, I did think that. But there was a small portion of the evening where I did sit on the pavement with a vagrant drinking $90 tequila, which I'd purchased. I don't know why I did that. So, yeah, it was really nice tequila as well. And I left it with him. God knows what happened to him. But, and then randomly, see, I have this little wallet for my cards, and they took it out of my pocket, removed the credit cards, left my key to my hotel and my driving license, and put it back in my pocket.
Oh, how considerate!
I know.
Honourable thieves.
Well, I don't have a problem with that. They've done you right.
With all my teeth and both of my driving license and key card to get in, because otherwise I would have been sitting on the doorstep of the hotel for hours, basically. But yeah, so a lesson to be learned there, and yeah.
So for the entire duration of the holiday, Mike was mugged.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mike told us at the start. Actually, so
no, I did believe that genuinely.
Oh no,
because I went to the toilet and went, "Oh, where's all my cards?" And then I came outside, and everybody I was drinking with had left, obviously.
Yeah.
And
Mug suggests some sort of violence.
yes, that is true. Yeah. Yes, I understand. Although you can be mugged with cryptocurrency, surely.
So Mike had decided that we should, because there was another Mike, the original Mike, we should call him Miguel, which is DJ.
Yeah.
My DJ name,
Yeah.
So that kind of stuck through the holiday, and then we had a fantastic time. It didn't spoil.
Well, no, and I must say here, like, thanks to you, because a good friend that you are, you were very supportive financially, and obviously I paid you back when we got home, and you really helped me with ringing people. And I do want to say thank you to one of my best friends in the world, like, if not the best. He was an absolute star, and didn't get annoyed with me. He was just glad I was okay, and he went out of his way to make sure that it didn't, like, spoil my trip.
Oh, no, I felt well guilty because you were already there because of me.
No.
So
let me. Can I just interject for a moment, because obviously, and Mike Miggy is quite right. You were a very, very supportive friend, Steve. You were absolutely spot on, which is what we all need in life. Let's be honest about it. The other thing that I would say about it is that Miggy, you would never have known this would have happened to him, because I've never seen an individual enjoy themselves so much for the 5 days that I was in his company. I have literally never seen somebody enjoy themselves so much. But it's cool. But the thing about it is, like, it's sort of funny in a way, but it is a cautionary tale, because that's, unfortunately, I remember when I was there 3 years ago, I saw exactly the same thing. The aftermath of exactly the same thing happened, where people do take advantage of people, and and it was exactly the same thing. It was cards and phones that got stolen, and it was a big German guy who just obviously just enjoyed himself too much, and a lovely lady came up to him and finessed him.
Always the ladies. Always the ladies.
Yeah. But it's something that people just have to be aware of when they're over there. And I get why it happens, because when you're over there, Jesus Christ, you're so excited about being in the environment and you're having a great time.
This is something that happens in Vegas. New York. It's not exclusive to New Orleans. But so just touching on something you said there. So for a week you thought you'd been mugged, and then you find out you're in a cab journey, and courtesy of the lovely lady that did our intro for us for this episode, Latricia. You explained the situation to Latricia, and what did she say? You didn't get mugged, darling. You got finessed.
I mean, you said, well, it's been a great time, but I got mugged. And
the first day.
She turned around, eyes wide. Oh my God, you got mugged. This is awful. What happened? Well, this girl came up. She went, a girl? You didn't get mugged. You got finessed.
And now, Mike will forever be known as Finesse.
Yeah.
Miggy Finesse.
What do you mean? What do you mean? She was like, you were chasing tail, boy. You got finessed. Oh, okay.
He reeled off many different names for Mike over the course of the 45-minute taxi journey, which was, without a doubt, the greatest taxi journey.
Well,
I would just say I would question where the fuck she took you, because that cab journey.
Oh, no,
I've never spent 45 minutes going to the airport.
We were going down. What's the road?
You got finessed 2 times.
What's road parallel to canal that goes up to the dome.
Poydras.
So we're going up,
that's
and
that's
then
the way. Yeah.
and then suddenly it started to get very, very busy. It's like, what? I mean, there shouldn't be a lot of traffic. So there was a free Palestine march.
Oh, that's
in
right.
front
Yes,
of us. So that delayed everything. And then by the time that happened, we then hit rush hour on the freeway. So it was it took us about 45, 50 minutes to get back.
So
Do you know, can I also say something you don't know, right? There were a couple of things that happened on that journey that we haven't revealed to you yet, which were quite interesting.
It was a fun journey.
And this is number one, that every time I tried to stick up for myself, she slammed her brakes on in the freeway and stopped the car and turned around to me, what? With all the cars bibbing her and everything. When we actually got to the airport, and she's like, right, she just parked across a crossing.
Yeah,
didn't care. Got out. She went, let's have a picture. And I was like, is the front of your car hanging off? She went, yep. And I was like,
all the cars that have been going past us, beeping, going. We thought that they were just having a go at her driving.
Do you remember the reason why though? She was talking about her husband, right? Because she does another job and she only Ubers to make a bit of extra cash. But they've got a BMW, and he won't let her use it. So she's like, I'm trashing this car, so I've got no choice. We were trying to
just outing Latricia on the pod.
Wow. No, she's an incredible lady. It was like a therapy session from heaven, right? It really was. But and great photo with us as well. But
absolutely. Video as well, which
she did. And
may be at the beginning of this.
Thanks to Latricia, you are now
Miggy Finesse.
That's a great DJ name. You should change it.
I know.
Miggy Finesse. Sounds
amazing.
amazing.
Get the number plate.
I could see you in Ibiza just spinning the decks. Miggy Finesse on the decks on the ones and twos.
Yeah. For anybody who didn't hear that, our friend Miggy Finesse has been looking at personalised number plates in the UK to see if he can get Miggy Finesse on there, which is phenomenal. That's the power of New Orleans.
just to recap, there are 6 of us on here, and only one of us got finessed. Just to put it into context. Yeah. So
good odds.
Aaron was fired. Alex, but Alex's finessing was slightly more nuanced because he, we won't get into that. But
Alex was much more fun because he actually got something out of it.
He got a lot of fake tan on his bed sheets from what he told me.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
Anyway, on a separate note, just to sort of talk about the variety of individuals we came across on our trip. Aaron, you text us a picture saying this guy is supposed to be like one of the characters from Your Honor. Do you remember that? You texted him. This guy's one of New Orleans' top mafiosos.
No, there was a random bar. Obviously, I was supposed to meet you guys in Dat Dog, and unfortunately, I got the wrong one. I didn't realise there was 2 in the city. So, like a mug, I was sat up on Frenchman, and you were sat in Magazine. Which was.
Hey. Hello, mate. Sorry, Aaron. I do apologise, mate. This is Steve.
No worries. Hey, hello, how you doing?
We've met before in passing in a bar.
Yeah. Sam, bro. Love you, man.
Love you too.
Sorry, Aaron. I do apologise.
Aaron, you were saying.
No, don't apologise. And so I didn't make it to Dat Dog, unfortunately, because I was in the wrong one. So I just headed back. And it was very random. I really needed the toilet. And so I just jumped into a random absolute dive bar. And there was only one woman working the bar, and she was looking at me like a hawk. And as I was running through to go to the toilet, she was like, "What do you want, darling?" And I said, "Look, I'm going to the toilet. I'll buy a drink on my way back." And so I went to the toilet quickly, came back, and she stood there. "What you having?" So ordered myself ordered myself a drink, and this is the wonders of, well, probably America, to be honest, but New Orleans especially, where you can just stand at a bar, the world goes by, and you can just chat to anyone, and there's all sorts going on. And as it turns out, there really was all sorts going on at this bar. It was completely random. Supposedly, the well-to-do of New Orleans go there. I don't know whether that's true or false. There was just entertaining characters dressed like you wouldn't believe. Supposedly someone from the New Orleans Mafia, another wine importer who was dressed ridiculously, somebody who was on Sugar Daddy who was married to some 85-year-old billionaire. It was just absolute carnage and madness, and so entertaining.
Was Mrs. Benson?
Who? Miss Benson, yeah. Unfortunately not. We could have had a word about firing Dennis Allen, but no.
Aaron,
she was the...
Aaron, can I have the address?
We can share that. Yeah. No, I know. We can share that.
I do distinctly remember that though. We was sitting in Dat Dogs, and Aaron's going to be here in a minute, and he's like, a message on WhatsApp. Where are you? Oh, we're in the beer garden. What beer garden? Oh, fuck, he's on French. He's like, I'm not going to make it. Carry on, boys. I'll see you later.
Yeah, the dangers of Google, everyone. Honestly, as I said on the messages, I should have known better. I was literally, my hotel was on the streetcar out to Magazine. I know where Magazine is, but I just Googled Dat Dog and just followed it.
Yeah. There's so many good messages on this podcast. Don't walk off with strange women and don't trust Google.
Yeah. Well, Dan, you were talking about the people that we met over there, and it was funny actually because, going back a little bit, when the first night where a majority of you guys turned up, and you go to Pat O'Brien's, and the two people that were mentioned there were London and Sherm.
Yeah.
Personally, I want to give a big shout out to them because they looked after our boy Baggy Dan, really looked after Baggy Dan. But they were also, from a Brits perspective, I think they were the ones that were most enamored by, especially sort of Steve, Mike, Charlie, and Alex, because obviously at times during the time we were over there, myself and Dan were off doing a couple of things, meeting other people and stuff, and there were quite often times where we weren't with you guys for sections of time. But I know the amount of love that London and Sherm have for the Brits that they were entertained by for a majority of the nights. Can you just touch on what it was like sort of being in and around them? Because they're both fantastic guys.
They really are. But I mean, if you look at the which day was it? Was it the Monday we went up to Metairie?
To the mall.
Yeah. So I think it was the Monday.
No, that was the Saturday. We went for brunch.
No,
it was because I had a phone for the game.
Yeah.
So oh God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
My time's completely off.
Yeah.
So Saturday. So at that point we met London and Sherm for
legends
36 hours.
Yeah.
Well, say 24 hours from Thursday to Friday, and on Friday, London said, "We're going to head to Black and Gold tomorrow. If anyone wants to go, then let us know, and we'll take you up there." I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly that's top of my list to go to."
Yeah.
So we met up on the Saturday, did the brunch. And then that was it, because then we left from the brunch, didn't we? Of course we did.
Beautiful that brunch was.
And then we just, so they sorted out Ubers. It's like, oh, okay, right, we're all getting in Ubers now. And then off we go. We're at Black and Gold. We go and spend way too much money. Dan buys about 1 million and one different Christmas decorations and God knows what else. And it's like absolutely.
Yeah. Sorry, Steve. You're saying, look. Me and Dan have got our Saints Christmas lights up. Black and gold.
I spent enough in there. Well, no, not enough. I spent plenty, but not enough. I could have spent an absolute fortune in there. But we then left there and we thought, oh, we'll just jump in a taxi back. And London said, oh, we'll pop down here. So we went off walking for a while. The hat shop. So went into a mall and we went to a hat shop, and then, Mike said, oh, I could really do with getting a phone. And I think the point was there was nothing that was too much trouble.
No. I know. I was worried.
We walked around.
Yeah, exactly.
People waited for ages. People who didn't know each other really. 36 hours before, they're searching for a phone shop for Mike to get another phone. Yeah. People were waiting. There was. It might sound so minor, but it was like these are people that you don't know who are willing to put aside. So London isn't from New Orleans.
No,
he's from a hell of a long way away. He's from Hawaii, but that warmth that you get when you hear. So I mean, it's cliche, but you hear people like The Rock who are from who are sort of Polynesian and you get the whole family vibe, and they will do anything for everyone. That is, it oozed off London constantly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm only saying London because Sherm wasn't there at the time, but that doesn't take anything away from Sherm, because he was exactly the same when he was there as well. It was just.
Do you know why we went to that mall as well? Because as we was walking out of Black and Gold, I said to London, I really need a shit. And he said to me, he said, yeah, me too, buddy, let's go. I know exactly where to hit it. And he took us there, walked down to that mall. Best moment me and London had together. We sat next to each other.
You did.
Cubicle to cubicle. It was beautiful.
Can I add something to there? That's all right. So meeting London and Sherm is like one of the many highlights for me of the whole experience. And I agree with Steve. You couldn't meet two nice people, just like everybody really. Everybody, like Aaron said earlier, absolutely amazing. And Charlie said it on holiday as well. Incredible people. But I sat outside with Mike and Alex because we just wanted to sit down. And it was so hot. I sat there and I thought, maybe they sell second-hand phones there like they do in England that I could get. And London come out and he went, I'll find out. And I was like, well, you all want to go back to the hotel. You're all like, gasping to go back and get changed and stuff. He was like, no, we're doing this. And obviously Baggy Dan was there as well. And I was like, do you mind? And he was like, no, not at all. Alex, don't mind. And then we walked around and the first shop wasn't open. And then the second one didn't sell phones. And he was like, I know. And we walked across the road and we went in. And then they all had to wait about 30 minutes because this guy couldn't get it to work. And I felt so bad. And they were like, don't worry about it. It's fine. You've got a phone. Yeah. And I'm not joking. That taxi ride back, I think I was happier than I've ever been in my entire life. He attached my arms to me. And I was taking pictures in the taxi and I was just loving it. So,
So I met London for the first time when I was in LA. We went out for brunch and I think London's cool. His girlfriend is equally as cool. We got in the car to drive away and my wife looked at me. My wife's like, same age as me, 42. She's like, fucking hell, London's girlfriend is so cool. And her name's Ocean as well. So it's like London Ocean, like the coolest named couple in the world. And they are cool as fuck, both of them. They're amazing. Yeah. They should be like an LA power couple. They're so cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
They should. But you look at the Saturday. So, we went for brunch and then there was maybe 30 people there. And then we obviously did the meetup on the Friday, on the evening, which was 50 people. I don't think I've ever met so many people that I've never met before.
Yeah.
And just felt so completely comfortable and at home.
Yeah.
With every single one of them, without exception. Like there was no one there that I didn't get a good feel about.
No, absolutely.
I mean, 50 people that you've never met from
cement.
Steve, can I just interrupt? Do remember that Aaron turned up a little bit later?
He's
quite lagging in an Arsenal top, unable to completely have his feet parallel to the floor. There are some exceptions to the rule, wouldn't you say, mate, Aaron?
There are, but
No, I'm joking. The point that you make is an absolutely valid point, and it's something that I find remarkable. In that, I've had a couple of these meetups in America, and my thoughts are exactly the same as you. I've never gone there, and you know what it's like. You go into a group of people, and you're sort of there, and you're doing your best to get on with everyone. But there's always a couple of people where you're like, for fuck's sake, you genuinely. There are always a couple of people where I hope they don't come over and that sort of thing. Not the case. Not the case over there. It's like literally anybody who walks up to you and starts chatting to you, you're like, I'm happy to.
It's just phenomenal. Then you look at you England, Scotland, New Orleans, New York, Utah, Hawaii,
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Like, it doesn't matter. Everyone was just. But do you know what? I think that was just mirrored when you got to the game as well.
Yeah.
Because we were sitting next to a guy and his wife, who he said, I've had season tickets since 1999.
1999, that's ridiculous.
And at the end of it, I mean, we were dancing and we were, with each other, and we were talking the whole time. And at the end, I said to him, look, I'm really sorry how obnoxiously loud we were. He said, oh, no, this has been, we've enjoyed this so much.
We have pictures with them. And,
it didn't matter. There were people behind that we were talking to and bigging up all the plays. And
so you two get decent seats. Charlie gets decent seats because he's got the two college honeys next to him and the sweethearts. Me, Aaron, and Mike get all the wanky fucking Bears fans in front of us and behind us. We have to deal with.
We didn't have any Bears fans near us.
Hey, look, that's our own fault. We wanted to be part of the Saints block party thing, and we were, and it was great. But I think me and you, Dan, have expressed live on the pod that we won't be doing that again next time we go over.
No, 300 and down for me.
It is purely
good.
because
I want front row.
No, but it is that thing where, as people that don't go over often and don't get the opportunity to go to that stadium and sort of embrace the whole Saints culture thing.
Yeah.
If you're slightly higher up in the tiers, quite often you're surrounded by away support, because we know that the New Orleans is a travel destination for every single team in the NFL.
Yeah.
So they come en masse. And obviously, when you're traveling with your hotels, flights, you're going to try and sort of, your budget means that you're probably going to be in the 600s. And that means that you're surrounded by away fans. I've been in the 600s a couple of times, and that sort of has been the case. When you go slightly lower down, that's when you get and it's going to sound like a really wanky thing to say, but that's when you get a fuller experience, because you're normally surrounded by Saints fans. So the first time me and my wife went over there, we were obviously so fucking excited. My wife is a Saints fan just because I am. But literally, like up until the heartbreak moment of the game, everybody around us felt like they were family. It was like high fives there, it was cuddles here. It was like, can we get you a drink? Can we do this? Good. And that's sort of the thing. I think every international Saints fan should experience that. And that's, don't get me wrong, the 600s can be a party, but quite often you're surrounded also by away fans. We spoke on the pod with Charlie, didn't we, about Joey at one point, maybe getting a little bit sort of frustrated with them around him, and that's what can happen, So I recommend any international Saints fan that's going over to the city, if you're going for your first or second game or whatever, just try and get seats slightly lower down, because then you're surrounded by Saints fans, and that's really where you feel like you're part of the party.
Can I just say something? And another shout out for somebody that meant a lot to me, and you all did, but is Wayne. I absolutely love.
Yeah, fucking great guy.
It kind of touches on what you just said there. Like the camaraderie and the enjoyment of watching. I think his team is Alabama, is it? Yeah. against LSU.
In a bar full of LSU fans.
50 of us all watching it, wanting LSU to win, and he's sitting there and he's loving every second of it. And there's no malice, there's no nastiness. And honestly, him and I had many conversations, and he's such a gentleman and a lovely guy.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that, like, tay-ta-tay with him, because I love LSU. I always have. And, like, honestly, it was brilliant. It was brilliant to, like, have that. And it just highlights perfectly what you just said, that, you know, we all enjoy the sport, and it's a party together, isn't it? I mean, obviously, we won't win, of course, but, that's important, I think, so.
May I just interject? It has dawned on me that I meant to be in the airport to pick someone up in 15 minutes.
You are.
It takes 45 minutes to get there, but they can just wait in arrivals for a bit. I know, Michael, you sent the message out earlier in the week saying, obviously, because it's Thanksgiving today, and something that we are to be thankful about, and this ties into the game. And it's actually someone on this podcast I want to be thankful for, and it's Steve. And so I had the walk to the ground with Aaron and Mike and Steve.
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of time with Steve, really just because I knew how good he was at taking photos, and I knew I wanted to get a good photo in my costume. But the reason why the Saints are my biggest team compared to Chelsea in the Premier League and Glasgow Warriors and Scottish rugby team is because of that. I still feel like a little boy supporting them. Like with Chelsea, and I'm sure all the rest of the Premier League fans in here will agree that the whole sport of the Premier League has been diluted by money, and it just doesn't feel the same as it did 10 years ago. And I'm now at the place with the rugby teams that I'm supporting guys that some played with and mainly played against. Like the crux of the Scotland team are people of my age who I played against growing up. So it's weird supporting them. But I still love being able to have Alvin Kamara as my hero, Taysom Hill as my hero.
Yeah.
But I am thinking, is that maybe just because I'm still quite young, still quite naive? But seeing the look on Steve's face, who's a little bit older than me, at the game, it was still like...
Generous.
Only a little bit, surely.
But he still had that absolute look of wonder, totally bringing back to being a child on Christmas Day. It just filled me with so much hope and so much excitement for the future that this level of fandom that I have isn't going to waver at all.
No.
And that it's something it's very nice to have.
So much age doesn't kill everything. Don't worry.
Exactly, but
this
whole thing will maintain to when I'm like, I can imagine when I'm in my 40s, 50s, 60s, I'll still be making like Saints wallpapers. I'll be photoshopping whenever Callan Breeze is offensive coordinator, we're wanting him out. Yeah, exactly. So just
boys do it again.
It is dawning on me that it's maybe only someone called Breeze that can play quarterback in New Orleans. But
Dan will attest as well. The greatest feeling is then taking that, because it doesn't wear off. You know, that excitement doesn't wear off, and it doesn't matter how old you are. It just really doesn't. But you know, you get older, and then you take that, and then you instill it on your kids, and you see the same thing in them, and then it just invigorates you even more as well. And it absolutely, you know.
And what you guys just said, like, I'm just sorry, I'm not going to force Chelsea fandom on them. I think they'll probably end up being Scotland supporters just because they're Scotland supporters. It's hard not to. They've got rugby posts outside. It's hard for them not to like rugby. But I will be drumming in if they show any interest in the NFL, any interest in what's Dad watching, that you are coming to sit there to have that shared experience, because New Orleans is a place all about shared experiences.
Yeah,
and if you can have it.
Do you know, I didn't realise this when we were on the trip. Baggy Dan is a Baggies fan, which is obvious when you think about it. So my son,
for our American viewers, that's West Bromwich Albion.
So my son is 25 now. My oldest son, he was a Chelsea fan when he was a kid, and then he defected to West Bromwich Albion. So we could have had a great conversation about that.
What did you do? What did you do?
But going back to Charlie's point, and I think we did touch on it on the pod with you, Charlie. It's about that thing about obviously as international fans, it takes a humongous effort, financial and all the other things, to get over there. and it's never about taking it for granted. Don't ever take the opportunity to go out there for granted. Don't ever take the opportunity to view the dome on the airport in the cab coming in for granted. Don't ever take the opportunity to walk up to the stadium and view it for granted. Never take the opportunity to see people dressed like Charlie in all their regalia, just the Saints. We never take it for granted, and it's because we have to make that effort. We have to. And I'm sort of with you. It's that sort of thing. When it's a little bit nearer to home, I think you can take it for granted sometimes. And I think you can get a little bit more despondent about it. But when you have to make that amount of effort to sort of support your team, you'll never take it for granted. And it will, I've been fortunate in the last sort of 4 or 5 years to go over there a load of times. I never, ever, ever take it for granted. I never do. And I know the people on this pod are going to be exactly the same. We've spoken about Aaron, like 2007, been over there 5 times. I'm sure Aaron never takes it for granted because you go over there and it's that thing, isn't it, mate?
Yeah. Can I? Okay, then.
No, go on, Aaron.
It's good.
No, I was just going to jump off the back of what Charlie was saying, and I wholeheartedly mean this. And it's not just because you guys are on the pod, but my favourite part of the weekend, genuinely, was seeing Steve and Charlie outside the dome, and it was just because of circumstance who I was with at the time. But we were outside in Champion Square before the game. Mike, Charlie, myself, and Steve, and it was building up. Obviously, as some of those guys will know, I had some issues with my ticket on my phone. I was a bit worried, but
Aaron, I'm not sure you ever really had it.
Yeah, I never mentioned it, right? but it was building up. We were in Champion Square. It was great, and we were getting some photos taken in front of Champion Square, in front of the dome, and I thought Steve was joking because he was welling up, and I don't know why, but I just thought he was just pissing about. And I said, "You all right, mate?" And he said, "No, I'm just taking it all in. I'm taking a moment here."
Yeah.
And it was just so real, just the pure emotion of what was going on. And it was just so nice to see. And then when we saw Charlie post game, the adrenaline running through him, just absolutely hyped up in the Braveheart costume.
Take long shots on.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just so nice to see. And you're right, you never take it for granted. 0 times, 4 or 5 times, it doesn't matter. You always appreciate going to the dome. Like you say, you've traveled a long time, you spent a lot of money, and no matter what happens, you're always going to appreciate it. But going there, I know it was your first experience in the dome, Steve, Charlie. It was just so nice to see, and just to experience it with you.
I agree. And do you know what, Aaron? Do you remember walking through those gates? You were like, "Mike, the internet's not working," and I was like, "We're getting you in there." And I was not going in there without him. I'm telling you that.
Smuggle you under my kilt.
He'll sort it.
I was so positive about it. Come on.
You were. You calmed me down. I was like, it's not fucking working.
Yeah, we to be honest, we've had that issue as well, where the internet doesn't work and where you sort of think you don't have your ticket on your phone.
Yeah.
When me and Alex went last year, we were fortunate to go with Uncle Jerry and Auntie Jerry.
Yeah. The two Jerrys we know about.
And we knew that if because we were trying to, I think we were trying to buy them on StubHub, and for whatever reason they have this thing in America sometimes where your postal code has to be in Mexico, US, or Canada, so you can't actually purchase them. So Jerry, bless him, purchased them for him, and I sent him the money. And then he sort of sent us sort of screenshots of them. We were like, we're not sure it's going to happen, but we were okay. Yeah. Uncle Jerry and Uncle Jerry we knew we were getting, mate. So we're all right. Yeah.
He's old Bill. Ex-old Bill. He'll keep you good.
Yeah. Yeah, but Jerry's got. I don't know if you lot have seen, like, Jerry's got pictures of himself when he was a young policeman, like on the field at the Dome in the 70s.
Yeah,
and stuff.
cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Police officer these days, Mike.
Great head of hair he's got.
All right, sorry. What did I say?
You said policeman. It's police officer.
Yeah, but I was talking about when Jerry was one that we didn't have all this political correctness.
Steady on, mate. Steady on.
Yeah. Anyway,
right, boys.
Swiftly moving on.
I better head off to the airport.
Yeah, Charlie, go and do your airport run, my friend.
Mate.
Pleasure, Charlie.
It's been an honor. It's been an honor, boys. And
Charlie, my man.
I'll leave you with 3 words, and that is "fuck the Falcons."
Fuck the Falcons.
Take care, Charlie.
Fuck them Falcons. Now he's gone. I didn't want to say it while he was on. He's our most listened to podcast so far. I didn't want to blow smoke up his ass.
I bet.
Yeah,
he is.
It's great podcast.
Most listened to one.
He's
just such a good guy.
Do you know the only reason that's the most listened to podcast is because I sing on that podcast?
You fucking sing badly, mate. Sing badly.
I know I did. I've got Steve and Mike there, a couple of singers. Yeah. And yeah, I apologize, Steve and Mike, for singing on that podcast. I do apologize. Sorry.
So, something I wanted to mention on the pod while I got you guys on. We talked about having a meetup. I just wanted to sort of extend it out. Anyone who's listening who's in London or around London, if you're interested in hanging out with some Saints fans like these characters that we have on here today, and myself and Mike, just hit us up on Twitter or Instagram. We would love to do more meetups, organise meetups, game watches, things like that. So please, if you're listening to this and you're interested in coming and hanging out with us and just hanging with some Saints fans in London or around London, let us know, because we'll always, I'm pretty sure all of us will be always up for something that's fairly central. I know it's a bit of a trek for Stephen, Miguel, Finesse, but I'm sure they'll be up for coming down to London town.
How is London central?
I went to London last Friday to watch a show and then came home again. No problem.
Essex.
Yeah.
I'm probably not pointing in the right place where you're looking, but Essex, like posh Luton, Aaron somewhere
Posh
over that
Luton.
way as well somewhere.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's central. I think we're a bit more central, but
Milton Keynes. What are we saying? Milton Keynes.
But Dan, your point is serious, because yet again, if anyone listens to this who's sort of in and around the London area, and don't have to be, I mean, Steve and Mike, I've been to Birmingham twice to watch the Saints with a group of guys.
In your life? Oh.
No, I've been to Birmingham a few times, but in the last 2 years, I've been to Birmingham twice to watch a Saints game in Birmingham. And I don't know what it is, but there's a phenomenal amount of Saints fans in Birmingham. Steve, you're in the same WhatsApp group as me.
Yeah.
And I think a majority of the people in that WhatsApp group are from fucking Birmingham. And I just genuinely don't understand the dynamic of the Saints and Birmingham. But
so
I've been up there twice to game watching with people in Birmingham. But Dan's right. If people do listen to this, and yet again, quite often when you're a Saints fan, it feels almost like a lonely existence. Even if you've got other NFL sort of mates, they support someone else. Anyone on social media sees the watch parties that the Steelers have or the Vikings have and all that. We don't have that, and we should try and get that, because I think there are enough Saints fans.
We will make it happen. I'm sure between SaintsCityMe and Dome Patrol UK, we can make something happen.
100%.
You know what? Can I just say, as a new Saints fan, I don't see it like that at all, a lonely existence, because I'm doing it with all of you lot, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
So I would definitely champion what Mike and Dan have just said, and what Steve's going to also agree with now. If any Saints fans out there feel like that, definitely reach out, because I feel part of the community. It's amazing. So
me and sorry, go on.
I was going to say, Charlie said a similar thing to me. So I know I was in London last year when you guys were there, and I know we've spoken about this before. We all went to 9th Ward, I never met you guys. I know you were there, and you know I was there, but we never actually met because I never realised what a Saints community there was around here. And I know Charlie said previously, like in his pod, that he's just watched games alone for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, people should definitely be aware that if that's, you know, if they want something more, if they want to connect with like-minded people, and watching a game with other Saints fans is just absolutely fantastic. Even if you're not in the Dome or not at Tottenham or wherever they're going to play that year, it's watching it with other like-minded people has changes the whole.
Well, look, I remember
on
last
on that point. Go ahead,
no,
buddy.
Dan, go on, bud. Go on.
I was going to say, just on that point, obviously, we've talked a lot about we joined the Saints Block Party Zooms and join those calls. Obviously, we love being on those calls, but if there was a desire from UK fans to do something similar, where we set up a Zoom or a StreamYard and we watch the game and we're all on Dazan, there's no delay, we'll happily facilitate that as a group, and so we can spend time, just in this kind of environment doing that for sure. And if you work in the City of London, me and Aaron work like a spit away from each other in the city when we're both in. Friday beers, just let us know. We'll if we're both in town, we'll make it happen. Saints Friday beers.
Yeah.
There's a bar near where I work called the Saint in just close where I'm in One New Change. It's literally called the Saints, black and gold. The outside. It's got to be a Saints fan that runs it.
Well, look,
go there for lunchtime beers.
I have to admit, it's like last season for the opener against the Falcons. You remember when we made that remarkable comeback with Jameis?
It was great.
And it was an absolutely fantastic game. And I went into London, like Alex, Alex lives in Wales, although he's not there very often because he's an international porn star or something. But they
used his spy. I think they told me he's his spy.
Oh, right, yeah, that's what I meant. But so Alex was coming into London. A load of people were meant to be coming in to meet Alex. I was up in Manchester seeing my kids, but everyone sort of seemed to be pulling out at the last moment. It was like, all right. So I said to my wife, right, we're gonna what's that?
Sorry.
Unfortunate turn of phrase.
Oh shit! Did I say so? Oh god!
You said about pulling out.
Pulling out. So I said to my wife, "Let's both like just jam him up the arse." But so. Oh, did I say that out loud? Sorry. No. So anyway,
was she talking to you or the other bloke?
Hey, you can't invite people to a podcast and then talk about jamming someone up the arse.
Why can't you? If that's the way you swing, that's
you know what, right? Can I just say this is why all those Saints players that I've messaged don't respond to me because they listen to me. But not messaging Jeremy. Me and Jeremy Shockey exchanging messages today. He probably listened to it and went, nah, not for me.
No, but we always do. Me and Dan always do say, like, when we're trying to get more professional people on, there are probably 4 or 5 podcasts that we point them to where we've been very well behaved.
Like a show reel.
It's like, by the way, don't listen to any of the other ones where, fuck's sakes, it's just gone messy. But anyway, I would say I won't go back to that comment I just made, which obviously it sort of made everyone chuckle. So anyway, I made my work. I wasn't planning on going there. I was in Manchester. We drove home. It ended up being a bit of a shit drive home, probably 4 or 5 hours. And I got to my house and I was there for 20 minutes and I went into London to meet Alex. So one other, and I'm not going to name the other guy that turned up because myself and Alex can drink. You've all met Alex. You know Alex can drink. I can drink quite healthily as well. So we watched the Falcons game and like we'd had loads of drinks and it was a tremendous sort of late fourth quarter comeback and it was brilliant. Everyone, we were all pumped and all that sort of thing. The guy we were with went to the toilet and he was trying to keep up with Alex, not necessarily me. He went to the toilet at one point. Then he came back, and me and Alex were then saying, right, let's hit the Hippodrome, and we're going to go and watch the late games and stuff. And he came out the toilet, and he sort of slumped, and he sort of fell asleep. And it was like, oh fuck, what do we do? And then me and Alex just started laughing because he just started pissing himself in the middle of the pub whilst he was asleep, and we didn't really know what to do.
I know he listens to his podcast. You can't.
Yeah, but I've not mentioned his name. I've not mentioned his name.
He might not have known he pissed himself.
No, he does, because I took a picture of it and sent it to a group chat that we were on. But anyway, all I'm saying is,
I nearly said his name then.
All I'm saying is,
he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy.
If you want to come to a meetup, then yeah, look, we're always up for a meetup.
This has gone sideways.
It has. Mike, you've gone too far. You've gone too far.
I do apologize. I apologize to the unnamed individual.
Look, shall I lighten the mood? Look what turned up today, and I am going to treasure this forever. So I
Is it your bank card?
Ticket.
Nice.
Is that your ticket from the game?
Yeah, that's the ticket from the game.
No, genuinely, where did you get it from?
You just go on to NewOrleansSaints.com. So when we were still there, I ordered them, and you can get them like that, or you can get them in like a plastic resin type.
I never realised you could do that.
I've never knew that. Aaron, did you know you could do that?
I didn't know that. No.
And do you know as well? Cool. This is what I do for a living. That's printed on
very cool.
Expensive metallic paper. It's beautiful. Oh, it's beautiful.
How does it smell?
It smells like lithographic printing, mate. It's beautiful.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, this feels like a marketing thing. I'm pretty sure you just go to NewOrleansSaints.com, and then. God, do you know what? I'll find it. And send it to you.
Yeah. If you could,
you can do that, or you can get the one stand.
They're
like $7.
For the
ticket.
Wow!
And if you want it
Really?
in the stand, then it's $20
Yeah.
or something like that. But it's still worth it, and it's free shipping.
Hang on,
Even here.
Can I say something? The reason Steve hasn't turned up because he had his laminated. Don't know why.
Hey, white clean. White clean. That's what it is.
Now, we're still not beyond the watershed.
Well, it depends what time I publish
am
it.
still waiting for mine. Where
Get the E on it.
I don't know why would they post them together? It's ridiculous.
Yours is smaller than mine.
That's what she said.
Fucking hell. Here we go. I'm watching the so can anyone tell me, it's Thanksgiving, I'm watching the games at the corner of my eye. Did Jamison Williams score a touchdown? Because I had him as an anytime touchdown today.
I don't know. I didn't watch it. I'm busy moving house.
Yeah, not sure.
Not sure, mate.
Yeah, I know.
Rubbish.
What a bunch of useless.
I had them. I was all over the Lions to beat the Packers. I can't believe. We'll see what the score said the same. They lost.
No,
the Packers won.
Yeah, and to be honest, the Lions looked absolutely atrocious. They really did. It was quite a surprise. But to be honest, I only watched it up until I think the end of the third quarter, and Jordan Love looked really, really, really good, which I think he has done for the last 2 or 3 weeks.
29-22 to the Packers.
Okay, so
maybe it's because Ben Johnson's heard all these Saints fans saying they want him as head coach, and he's like, "No, fuck that! I'm going to just throw the towel in." Three or four fumbles for Jared Goff.
I thought he was just trying to get into the spirit of things by losing.
There's not a late game tonight, then.
Yeah,
there's 3 games tonight,
and there's a game tomorrow as well, isn't there?
The Cowboys
Dolphins tomorrow.
Yeah, the Cowgirls.
Cowgirls.
Right. I'm going to attempt, even though I probably derailed it a little bit earlier, I'm going to attempt to get this back on track.
Oh, okay.
If I'm going to ask all of the individuals that remain on this pod, what is your most outstanding moment? And and it sounds almost unfair. This is a little bit like when me and Dan used to talk to people about your favorite player from the Saints, and we were like, it can't be Drew Brees. But if I'm going to ask, what's your favorite memory from being over in New Orleans earlier this year that doesn't include going to the Dome and going to the game? What would it be?
Can it be things that happened in the game or outside of the game, basically?
Yeah, I think it's got to be removed from the game, because obviously that's going to be everybody's sort of favorite thing. And it's just, I know you guys had some fantastic experiences.
Oh, absolutely.
One of my favorite experiences, and I think Aaron touched on it before, was the fact that we went to That Dog, and Aaron obviously got the wrong address. Steve also got the wrong address. Steve got the wrong address, but then power walked down the whole of Magazine. Whilst Wayne was getting in touch saying, "Look, I'm driving up. I'll try and catch you up. I'll see where you are."
Do you know what? That experience. That's not my favorite part of the whole thing, but that experience and that thing is, I think, sums up the whole experience of that community, because I was walking, power walking. I was really, really going for it. And I was quite happy to walk. I was having the time of my life. It's like, I'm back in the city that I love. It's a beautiful day. I've got my new black and gold Air Force Ones on. Air Force Ones, Jordan ones. Jordan ones. And then I'm messaging people saying, no, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. And then Wayne says, well, where are you? I said, well, just look for an Englishman who looks like grinning like a Cheshire cat, who can't be any happier with life. And then 5 minutes later, I heard, Steve! I've never met this guy before. And he just drives down the road, sees me, and just knows and picks me up. Admittedly, it was about 50 meters more. I could have walked there in the time.
Wayne's driving past going, that looks like a colonizer if I've ever seen one.
So going back, obviously wasn't your favorite moment, but Aaron, what was your, apart from the game and all that sort of thing, what was your favorite moment of being over there, my friend?
Yeah, well, I don't know whether this counts or not, because it's a kind of a continuation of the game. So obviously post-game, we all met up, we went and had some food and some drinks in a hotel after with the block party Saints crew. To be honest, it was kind of, and that was great, and meeting everybody, met some of them prior to that in the trip, met some new people, fantastic. But to be honest, beyond that, you know, myself and Alex, we decided to head down to Bourbon Street straight post that. We met a couple of random Chicago Bears fans. One we called Coach Beard because he looked identical to the guy from Ted Lasso, and another guy, and they were a really good laugh. They really were. So we went out for a drink with them, walked down to Bourbon Street, and then we got outside a bar and jumped in there. And it was a very random bar, pretty nondescript, to be honest, just playing some music. And then because we were the first ones there, everybody just filtered in. And, you know, Steve, Mike, you were there, you arrived later, other Mike, you know, there was a wheelchair incident, which we won't delve into too much. But, you know,
no.
Ruined it.
Sorry, mate. Sorry, I've stolen your thunder, haven't I? But no, honestly, like, just especially, it's always perspective on a night out, right?
Yeah.
So as I say, I was there with Alex early on with these random Bears fans having a good time. They were a great crack, and then just people just filtering in all throughout the night, and just the way the bar's set up, you're looking onto Bourbon Street. You can literally see people walking past the open windows and roll in. And then it just kept adding to the night. Everybody showed up. Well, not everyone, but, you know, a large proportion of people. And the night just got better and better. And it was just a great night. Just, you know, silly jokes, people singing along, top of the lungs, just fresh off the Superdome experience, fresh off people experiencing it for the first time. Just great night.
that band were awesome.
Oh yeah, there was 2 of them as well. They were superb.
They really were. It didn't feel like Northern Street, though.
No, it didn't. No, you're right.
No, not at all. You're right. You could, it was like proper music rather than, sometimes you can just go into a bar and it be pure cheese. They were proper musicians.
So I guess it's my turn then. So I mean, I was going to choose that moment.
Sorry, mate.
No, don't apologise, because it's lovely that you felt the same way. I think that night was just the best night for me, because I was on such a high from the game, like you said, and obviously we dressed up, and it was just so much attention. Suddenly, no one's looking at us anymore. It's like, what's going on? But that was brilliant. I mean, I was outside having a vape, and there was a poor woman in a wheelchair, and she was like, I want to go inside. And I was like, right, we can sort that out. And then bring her in, and then Alex sitting on her lap and everything. But I think I'll have to choose another moment, which was poignant to me. And
can I also, just on that, Mike, Miggy, just sort of say that, like Aaron sort of touched on it. I turned up later, and she was in the bar, the woman in the wheelchair, and I thought, we're Brits, so I thought it was like a bit of a piss take, and it might well have been a little bit of a piss take. But the good thing about it is that I got up there, I got into the bar, and I was like, what? And then I can't remember who told me, oh yeah, Miggy brought her in, sort of thing and stuff. And then it was like, and then I spoke to Alex. He was like, no, we bought her drinks, we're taking care of her. And then I spoke to other people, and they were like, no, we're taking care of her. Then I was speaking to London outside, and London was like, we've all, I went over and had a chat with her, and like, she was deaf. He was talking about the fact that she used to play in bands, and that what caused her the deafness. And she used to have quite a successful career, and everything cascaded down. And she was sort of inferring to him that it was a really lovely thing that people had seen her. People had just seen her for a night. And they brought her in, and they were buying her drinks, and they were making sure that people were trying to communicate with her and stuff. And I sort of came in genuinely thinking, oh, us Brits are taking a piss. And I came out of it thinking, fuck's sakes, well done, lads. All of you, everyone that was there, I was like, well done. Yeah.
No, honestly, I stood outside with her, and I talked to her for about 15-20 minutes, and she was saying that like she loves this place, and she feels really alone, and she wished she could go in and enjoy herself. Like she said, the first thing she said to me when I met her was, "Are you having a good night?" And I went, "What a great venue, the band and everything." She went, "Oh, I wish I could enjoy it." And I went, "Well, why can't you?" She went, and I was like, no, come on. Talk for a bit. And I said, how do you feel about me taking you inside? Like, are you okay with that? And she was like, I'd love that. And I said, come and meet all my friends. There's loads of them. And I'll never forget his face when I wheeled her in. His face went, what the fuck?
That's the face. That is the face.
But we wouldn't, obviously, I appreciate you saying that, Mike, but we weren't taking the piss. We were being nice.
Yeah.
We bought drinks. We talked to her.
Absolutely.
And I think Alex sat on a lap at one point and made a night. But there you go.
Yeah.
I would like to choose another moment. And like I said a minute ago, I'm sorry. Did I spit? I'm sorry that it doesn't involve everybody, but I think it was kind of like a bit of a turning point for me in the holiday, because what you have to understand is, like, obviously the first night I went a bit all out too much, and obviously this gentleman here is an absolute legend, but you always as a friend think, shit, have I annoyed him? I wouldn't usually do that, and like, you never ever gave me that impression, but I was worried about that. So then, Mike, yourself, me, and Alex, and somebody else. I'm sorry, my brain's gone.
Baggy, I think it was Baggy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We went to the dungeon.
Yeah.
We were outside, like 4 gentlemen, scared to go in for about 10 minutes while we're all. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, it was our American friend. And
did Joey come along?
Joey,
no, it's fine.
Oh, Joey. Yeah.
Why are we all standing here? And he went, because you're smoking. He went, oh shit, put it out. And then we went in, and I think you and I had our first real proper discussion.
Yeah.
Where I talked about how much I love this man, and he's a good friend. And look, if it had been the other way around, I'd have done the exact same thing, obviously. And I think that night was really important to me because I think it was the first night that I really got to know Alex really well, and you, and of course Aaron, and like that kind of like just cemented everything for me. And then, do you know, I'll be honest with you, all my worries just went away, and the next day I felt like a part of everything, and it was great. And I really appreciated that so much. It was so small in time; it didn't last very long. Don't say it, she said. And yeah, that made Aaron chuckle. That did. And yeah, but it meant an awful lot to me. So thank you so much for that.
No, it's brilliant too. Aaron, what about yourself? Oh no, you've said yourself. Dan, have you got anything? Yeah, Dan.
I'm gonna say probably for me outside the game, that dog. One of my closest friends is G. I've never met him before in person. We talk so much on text message and in the Zoom and all the time, and just getting to meet him in person, bear hug him. It was great for me because we are very close, even though we at that point we'd never met each other before, and it's a relationship that had built up over like 2 years. That was just phenomenal for me to meet someone who I've built such a close relationship with. That was really important to me. Such a great guy. His wife Alex, she's wonderful as well.
He had COVID, bless him.
Well, not when he touched me.
No, when he came back, you know.
If you wanted me to be a bit more materialistic, Mike and I met with Doug Tatum, who's the VP for media for the Saints, and he's been on the podcast. Wow. That was great. We sat down with Doug for like 45 minutes, completely candid, really open with us, really nice guy. That was a highlight for me as well. So those two, but the G is from a sentimental point of view, the piece for me that was special.
What about you, Mike?
I'm trying to think my favorite moment. There's quite a few. We had a night where we met Ross and his partner, and then we went on to drink with like Max and Alex and stuff. That was great. My favorite moment.
Alex, Max's wife, not Alex, the drinking degenerate.
No.
Alex listens to it. Alex Ortiz listens to our podcast, so I don't want us to think that we was leveraging her with Alex the drunk.
With our friend Alex. I'd say my favorite moment is when I turned up in Pat O'Brien's. I'd had quite a few drinks myself. So I'd been to, and this is gonna
Pelicans.
It's better than that, Dan. It's gonna really piss Dan off. I've been to Blue Oak Barbecue in the afternoon with Eric and Dash. I then went up and I had I won't upset Dan by telling him what I had, but then I went to Hanson's, and that was great. And then we went to a bar. We had a couple of beers. I went back to my hotel and thought, feeling a bit, probably need to have a kip. Didn't have a kip. Then I went to the Pelicans. Then I went to the Troubadour Hotel, had a few drinks. Then I went to the Pelicans. Drink was free, fucking mullering it. Came out, and that's when all you guys turned up. And then it was, I went back to the hotel to get changed. They were in the Roosevelt bar, went there, didn't even have a drink. And then I kept getting messages from Baggy Dan and a few other people saying, we're in Pat O'Brien's, where the fuck are you? And so I headed straight off to Pat O'Brien's. I'd had quite a few drinks myself, so I was quite sort of tipsy, I'd say myself. I turn up in Pat O'Brien's. I've met Steve online. I've met Aaron a couple of times. I've never met Miggy. I've met Dan once. Sherm I hadn't met. London I hadn't met. Alex, one of my best friends. I turn up and it is a fucking cavalcade of chaos. And genuinely, I walk into it and I thought, this is fucking New Orleans. This is it. Because you lot were, honestly, it was a cavalcade of chaos, and I loved it.
And
you know, when you turn up
from an outsider would think, "Oh, these guys have known each other for years."
Yeah. And so I turn up, and it's just like Aaron's there, and he's fucking lagging. Everyone's lagging, and I turn up as a Brit who's a bit tipsy, and then think, "Oh, I'm quite sober," and that was my favorite. That was my favorite moment of the whole trip: is turning up. Yeah. Seeing people, a majority of who I had never really met, having the fucking time of their lives. I mean, genuinely, we talk about the community that we met over there, and there isn't anybody that you have a side eye at and all that sort of thing. I meet you guys, a majority of you, for the first time in the flesh, and honestly, it was like I was ecstatic because I just had a collection of people in front of me who were just having the fucking time of their life, and they'd only been there for 4 hours. Obviously, for Miggy Smalls, things went a little bit pear-shaped, but for the rest of us, it was all right, you know. So
no, that was an experience. That was an experience for me that I will tell till I'm 98 years of age, and it'd be funny. I don't care. But next time I go, I'll be where.
Yeah. You'd be a little bit more understanding.
Next time, he's going to get done with the wit. I better know where you got your shoes.
No. All right. I think
me
also,
and Mike had it. I was just going to say on that point, me and Mike had it at Mardi Gras. Some girls in Pat O'Brien's asked us if we wanted to see their boobs, and I was quite drunk, and Mike was like, "No, it's a scam." So these things go on; they happen, just to varying degrees of success.
Yeah.
No, all I was going to quickly add to that. I know you probably want to wrap up, but look, Pat O'Brien's was great. Had a fantastic time there, and as you say, people just dropping in at all sorts of times, seeing different things. It was fantastic. But for me as well, we went straight from Pat O'Brien's to Jean Lafitte's, and we were just stood outside on the pavement.
Are you going to talk about that picture, Aaron?
Not really, but I don't think it's that incriminating. But no, all I was going to say is, I think you're right. There was a lot of kind of the adrenaline, the excitement at Pat O'Brien's, which is great. And, you know, you go through that, but then it simmered down a little bit and people were just chatting. And it was just, I don't know about you, but you just looked across and just saw members of the group, whether it be the UK lot, Saints Block Party, and you just chatting. And it was more of a normal conversation, just at a level of, let's find out who you are, where you're at, what you're doing. And I really enjoyed that too.
And you're right, Aaron.
John Lafitte's is perfect for that. John Lafitte's is perfect.
And when you go,
precisely.
And that was the thing. You're right about that massive sort of adrenaline rush. But then you walk to the next venue, and then it's just people having a chat. But it's the same thing. Nobody is side-eyeing anyone. It just felt natural, which was the.
On the Saturday, what I loved the most, that big meetup where everybody was there in that amazing place. I mean, I did snog some bird at the end of it from California, which was quite nice. But it was really good because like you could just filter from one group to another, and the conversation just flowed. It wasn't a problem. It was like, "Oh, how you going? You having a good night? Yeah, great. Who are you? Oh, great, wicked." And you just got to meet so many people. It was honestly one of the best nights. It was incredible.
Yeah. I think that's probably we're almost at 2 hours, Dan. So I think it's probably a good time to sort of bring it to an end on a rather lovely and succinct memory from both Aaron and the guys. Look, as we were saying earlier, if you're a Saints fan, if you listen to this, you're in the UK. If you want to get involved with us guys, you know, get in contact with any one of us. It'll be lovely to have you on board. I'm assuming, Aaron, I don't know about you, because obviously I know you're saying with kids and stuff and all the things that come with that. I'm assuming everyone's going back next year at some point.
I am.
I think I might have to.
I'm
11 years.
hoping to.
Yeah.
I mean,
let's see what the City bonuses are like next year. If City bonuses are down, then fucked. But if
I'm hoping to change my name next year to Miggy Non-Finesse.
Let's hope so.
Because
And on that note,
a year older, a year wiser.
A year wider. Miggy Corner Pocket.
you don't want to go there. On that note, leave it.
No, just before we wrap up, I just wanted to, before we say goodbye, just want a little teaser for our next episode. We think we've got it lined up. All I'm going to say is this shit's more than a game.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Oh, no. I'm not going to spoil it. Not going to spoil it.
No, it's fine.
Why
this
do you
shit's
know
more than a game.
Do. He wants to do something, Chris.
No.
Do it.
Everyone knows.
No, you're going to do it.
Everyone knows.
Dan, end it there, mate.
A pleasure, gentlemen.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
These fucking Northerners.